Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time zone you're in. What is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993. Back up you again here to catch up on, any action that I missed this week in wrestling, as I'm about to be all caught up here. Well, except for my top 10 special I'm going to do tomorrow. But this is my live review from this past week's edition of NXT that, once again, I forgot to share on Twitter because, again, I keep saying this how many times. I'm sure it's like a broken record. I'm not used to YouTube not automatically sharing things to any social media accounts. So let me get that in there real quick. All right. Because as I said last night, guys, still pretty tired from, getting back from my trip and whatnot. So I was because yesterday at the airport, I got to watch 205 Live and NXT UK, but I didn't get to watch NXT. And I was going to do my review last night after I watched NXT. But again, I did 205 Live and NXT UK reviews first because I was still kind of fresh and I didn't want to, get too tired and not put them back even further. So I did those first before I watched NXT, and I had to get a couple other stuff, outside of wrestling that I wanted to watch and catch up on too. So that's why I was going to review this, but then when I was watching NXT last night, my stream was acting up a little bit, so it was lagging a little bit, and so it took me a little longer to finish NXT last night. So I finally went to bed because I was toast, guys. Again, I only was on like a little under 3 hours of sleep last night, and I only slept like a half an hour on the flight home, surprisingly. So I was about to crash, basically. So that's why I waited till today to do my live review of NXT, and I'm glad I did because I wanted to be fresh. Because I gotta say, this week's edition of NXT, not last night's, this edition of NXT I thought was really good. I didn't give it as high of a grade though, because a lot of the stuff that happened on this show for NXT is setting up for something like even bigger and better to be coming down the line. That's not just, with, the reuniting officially of DIY in NXT. That is not because of, Mia Yim's breakout performance against Shayna Baszler. But, of course, there's another match in particular also that we're going to talk about that really opened up my eyes. Again, with how tired I was last night watching this show, and I saw the performance, I'm like, whoa, like maybe I thought wrong of some of these guys. Well, one of them, I had hopes for. And, it definitely, starting to break through more. The other one, I was kind of like, but then I saw the performance last night they had, and I'm like, they're set for something even bigger and better. And I know a lot of people want to see this, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So this show had a lot of, it wasn't just come out, have a squash match and win. No, it was breakout performances that really caught the attentions. It was a prime example would be the Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream match from NXT TakeOver War Games 2017. That's why I saw a lot of matches like this. People lost or there were no decisions at all, but people benefited from it. And that's how you book, a quality, double count out or, tapping out to a finisher or something like that. Everything was right on mark. But again, they're setting up for bigger and better things. So I couldn't quite say this was, a perfect A show. That's why I gave it just slightly under just a solid A. I gave it an A- because of that. But we'll get that out of the way. But we'll get into this review of NXT and talk about that. We got Larry's evil brother. What's up? Not much. How about yourself? I don't know if you're talking about my friend Larry or what. I'll just make the joke. But good to have you in a live chat, though, my friend. So let's get into this live review of NXT from this past week. We kick things off with Mauro Ranallo barely able to, welcome us when Johnny Gargano comes out without the belt. Because we all know last week he dropped the North American Championship to Velveteen Dream, who earned this opportunity based off him winning the Worlds Collide tournament. Johnny comes out and says, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. Not only has he shown the W Universe what NXT is all about as one of the newest members of Raw and SmackDown, but last week he had one of the toughest matches of his career against the Velveteen Dream. After TakeOver Phoenix, he told the world Johnny Wrestling was back. And he was. He introduced the world to Johnny Champion. But when he had his first test as champion, he failed himself, and to all of us, which he was getting a Johnny failure chant. And he says, and he still feels like a champion, but he is a failure. And he's come to realize the only reason he's had any success around here is, and it was pretty obvious he was just about to say that he's had some help from Tommaso Ciampa, and also the fact that, he in some ways has become Tommaso Ciampa himself. Last week against Velveteen Dream, he didn't really, revert to those heel tactics, as he was strongly, trying to be just, Johnny Wrestling. But he was not being complete Johnny Wrestling, and he did bring out like the Johnny Badass or Johnny Jackass, whatever you want to call his dirty side, basically. And there's like these bipolar reactions basically over the past several weeks, and just being like Tommaso Ciampa himself. And as I said, whenever I made the heel turn official for Johnny Gargano, that Johnny winning his championship is going to create some type of an obsession over him, and for him, it's like an addiction that he can't let go of. And I thought him having that championship was going to be that addiction, but losing it makes it even him dig even deeper. And of course, it made that he's only been having success around here lately because of Tommaso Ciampa. Of course, he didn't say that because he got interrupted by Ciampa. Is kind of going along those lines. Ciampa came out and he basically capitalized. At first, he shut down a pop from the crowd. He says that whenever they're together, whether it's here or on Raw and SmackDown, they win. But when Johnny went against the Velveteen Dream last week, he offered to help, and Johnny chose to go at it alone. He lost, but now Johnny's finally realizing they need each other. He's standing there holding a title, and Johnny isn't. But it doesn't have to be that way forever. Regal announced the return of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic last week. And literally right before he said it, it's like you took the words right out of my mouth, Ciampa, but he says that's where DIY and their dream started, which is true. That's where they first got their attention. They went in not really with any contracts at all. I really, serious contracts or anything. They came in as just another team, but they really, got over the crowd, and that's what got this success there today. This tournament ends with a title shot, which they'll get at Takeover New York, which again I still cannot believe that they're calling Takeover New York when it's still in Brooklyn. Why can't they call it Takeover Brooklyn 5? I don't know why. But that title shot could be their destiny. Takeover New York could end like Takeover Phoenix did, with two of them as champions. Ciampa offers his hand as the crowd chants DIY. Johnny drops his mic, and he shakes Ciampa's hand. And then the Champ smiles and leaves. Johnny looks shocked and follows him out, of course, just shocked as hell. Afterwards, we see them heading backstage. Candice LeRae, who we had not seen. I mean, we've seen her here. We saw her right before Takeover Phoenix, where it kind of gave me that inkling, like, okay, she's probably gonna be like I predicted, like that foil that kind of like, it's like, pulling Johnny back from this addiction, basically, help him like, lose this addiction, like go through the, the withdrawal, and I'm going a little too that here, but basically, again, pulling Johnny away from this addiction with what he has with Tommaso Ciampa. Candice was waiting there. Ciampa leaves for them to talk, and Candice wants to know why her husband is doing this. And then Johnny tells her to trust him, but Candice seems like she wants nothing to do with it. So, very interesting here. DIY is in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. His wife is, of course, not approving of it. It's kind of playing along that plan I kind of mentioned. It's going to get very juicy. Could we be seeing DIY take on the War Raiders maybe at TakeOver New York? We'll have to wait and see, because there was a couple other big-name teams revealed as so far. There's some pretty stacked names, for sure, in this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic this year. As one of them which was revealed later, of course, is to be interviewed backstage. Well, half of it. Kathy Kelly interviews Ricochet. He's been making noise on Raw and SmackDown, but he and Aleister Black have forgotten about it's just the Undisputed Era. He comes to realize that when you fight one of the era, you fight them all. But with Aleister by his side, that doesn't worry him. she asks how he plans to deal with them, and he says that if Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are in the Classic, he's going to talk to Regal before he decides on the final teams for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. We'll get to that in a moment, though. Of course, I'll talk about the bracket when it was revealed. We have a match. It's probably like the weakest point of the show, but I wouldn't say it was terrible either. The newly formed tag team alliance of Aaliyah and Vanessa Bourne was taking on the team of Tainara Conchi and Xia Li, who again had a really good performance in the Royal Rumble. And Tainara Conchi haven't done it yet, but she's reverting more towards the babyface role now. After, of course, she was a heel for sure when she was at first, used by the Undisputed Era to get Nikki Cross out of the picture, but did not work. Henceforth, Johnny Gargano's, wow, way off there. Henceforth, what's it called now? Robbie's profile picture here on YouTube. And also, what's up, Mark? He said, I'm surprised Candice didn't come out and stop. I'm surprised she waited till do it backstage too. Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't come out to stop it. But yes, but we'll see what happens with it, of course. But we had Tainara Conchi and Xia Li taking on Vanessa Bourne and Aaliyah. Obviously, it's to start because of what happened later on in the show. They're trying to form women's tag teams, basically. And I guess, even though this is like, 4 superstars that weren't really doing much at all in NXT, they all do have a lot of potential. I guess it gives them something to do at least. Like, especially, I've been saying for years, like, Aaliyah's been around the longest, I feel, out of all these superstars. And she's been just like, that one there to take pins. But now, like, she won the other week against Conchi. And they got the win here again when Aaliyah hit a neck breaker on Xia Li, while Vanessa had her in a backbreaker hold. So I guess I guess there's something to do. Like, cool, I can finally take her seriously and give Vanessa Bourne something to do. Who, she's talented, but I haven't been like the biggest fan of her, I'll be honest. And of course, Tainara Conchi gives her something to do as well. And then Xia Li, who I know has a lot of singles potential. It's like, okay, it would be nice to see like a couple more established women's wrestlers who aren't really doing much right now. Get the tag team opportunities, but I guess who else really is there? So that was developed there. We then have a backstage interview with the new North American champion Velveteen Dream. Before we can really discuss his big win, up comes the Undisputed Era. They mock Mr. Interviewer guy for wasting his time with Velveeta when he should be talking to them. Cole puts over himself and O'Reilly and Fish for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, but Velveteen Dream cuts him off. He's got a big mouth for a little bit and wonders how big his mouth is when his entourage is around. Roderick Strong says they're best friends, not an entourage. The Velveteen Dream says he doesn't have time for them, and he walks away. So obviously, it looks like we're probably going to be getting a feud for a North American Championship with Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole, which cool with me. We'll probably see that at Takeover New York. So we then have Kathy Kelly outside waiting for Mr. Regal to reveal the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic when we hear people fighting. We go down and there was just, not, physical, but just, just yelling at each other was Io Shirai and Bianca Belair with Serena Deeb separating them. Obviously, again, Bianca Belair, in the tag match she had a couple weeks ago, felt that Io Shirai kind of took her spotlight as Bianca, of course, we all knew, came so close to pinning Shayna Baszler on Takeover Phoenix, which was the perfect, type of match that Bianca Belair needed to have, like a more character development match, because that's what I felt, she needed, and she got that. Now she's, even more serious of a contender for the women's championship. But then Io Shirai out of the blue stole her spotlight and got the pinfall victory in that match, of course. So obviously that kind of bothering Bianca a little bit. So that's when Regal made, I think in 2 weeks, next week or 2 weeks, they're going to have a match between Bianca Belair and Io Shirai, where the winner will face Shayna Baszler at TakeOver New York. Fair game there. Here it comes, though, guys. This, to me, was the biggest eye-opener of the night for me. Like, this This was fun, and this was great. But I know that I'm hoping and I believe, because NXT always capitalizes usually. If they give these guys a match at Takeover New York, it can really be something big already based on what happened. We have Keith Lee taking on Dominik Dijakovic. Dijakovic, never pronounced his last name. First thing to talk about this. Keith Lee has a new theme song. And at first when I heard it, I'm like, this sounds a little awkward, I thought it sounded like. But then this morning, when I woke up and I was looking at, like, my views on YouTube, I came across those uploads to the WWE's, music page. And I listened to it again, and I'm like, it's one of those songs that's like, I'm not like the biggest fan of it yet, but I feel like it's one of those songs that I'm slowly going to grow, and I'll love it. And it's Keith Lee singing the song basically, and it feels more personal. It doesn't feel so generic. It feels different, and sometimes different is good again, guys. So I'm very interested in maybe seeing if I really grow with the song basically, and see how it also pushes Keith Lee up to another level also. Now there's Dominik Dijakovic, which I think he wasn't like a official serious NXT superstar yet, but I saw him last September have a match with Tommaso Ciampa. I can't remember if he was Dominik Dijakovic or if he was Chris Dijakovic, whatever his name was, and I wasn't that impressed with him. And I don't know, so far when I came him, I'm just like, all right, whatever. He's just another person. Like, he's another Kona Reeves. Like, he felt like another Kona Reeves at first. I'm like, I wasn't that big of a fan of him. I mean, his finisher is different. I like his finisher, to feast your eyes. That knee, he does it too, like like the bridge of the nose, like right on the forehead. But sometimes I feel like he's a little lazy with it. I'm pretty sure you gotta be careful with that finisher where you're hitting. But this though. I mean, Keith Lee has already had his breakout performances, against Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno. He's already had some good matches already. Of course, this match took him to another level, but this match maybe not become a fan of his, but start to feel that okay, this is a guy that could definitely do so. Kind of how I feel about Andrade Cien Almas. Not the biggest fan of him, but I've grown to definitely respect what he can do in the ring, and I do want, and I have serious booking ideas for him as well. That's how I'm starting to feel about Dominik Dijakovic. This match was two big men. Keith Lee is like, what, 6'3", 6'4", I can't remember, like 320 pounds. Moves like a cruiserweight, obviously, as mentioned before. Dominik Dijakovic can do that as well. He's 6'7", 275 pounds. There was early shows of athleticism immediately from these two. Lee did, though, offer a handshake after one of their, little sequences, but then Dijakovic shoved him away. They traded chops, and then they were doing moves like it reminded me of Ricochet, dude, his moves where it's like he was like get hit like hurricanrans, he's like following them up and standing on their 2 feet like they're nothing. It was really that's like you don't think guys these big are able to do. Keith Lee hits a pounce. Dijakovic then lands on his feet, coming out of a belly-to-back suplex. There's a super kick by the sit-out choke slam, and then he tried coming off the turnbuckles, but leaps into a chop. There was a time also where I think Dijakovic leaped on, and then Keith Lee caught him on his shoulders or something like that, and did some type of sick move on there. And I'm just like, this is. These guys are this big. When's the last time we see guys this big doing moves like this? Even Braun Strowman, yes, he do that double drop kick, is not as agile as these two are. And I was just like, holy hell, how are these guys doing it? And then Dijakovic that hit a spine buster on Keith Lee for 2. And then he hits a cyclical tornado kick, sending Keith to the floor. And then my favorite moment, Dijakovic jumped on the apron. Then he jumped up to the second rope and did a moonsault, landing on Lee. Both men landed on the ramp, obviously, and took nasty bumps off of that steel. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's like when can this guy do this? This guy is 6'7", 275 pounds, and he did a freaking moonsault off the top rope. Like, you saw like Brock Lesnar at like 6'3", 286, turning that moonsault WrestleMania 21 or whatever the heck no, 20, whichever, or 19. I can't remember which year it was. But, and you thought he was going to literally, no, shooting star press, and he thought he was going to land on his neck and break his neck. No, this man literally, Dijakovic, got like Velveteen Dream's height on a purple Rainmaker outside the ring. And like, it was as clean as Ricochet, but it made me think of Ricochet. I'm just like, how is he doing it? And this led to a double countout. Like, the moves that these guys were doing in this match, everyone was popping. And yes, we already knew how good Keith Lee could be, but I really didn't realize that how agile Dominik Dijakovic could definitely be. Like, this was his breakout match for sure. And it was that eye-opening that they left you wanting more. And the crowd was chanting, "Let them fight." And the referees had to get out there and get into the middle of the ring to keep them apart. And of course, the crowd was chanting, "We want Regal," meaning like, we want them to make a match like right now. Like, you sold us on not just, Keith Lee at another level, but on Dominik Dijakovic as well. And I'm hoping these two have some sort of match, even maybe at a stipulation like last man standing or something like that, at TakeOver New York. And I think it will be an awesome addition to this card for sure. So I was very surprised by this. Like, this was like the biggest eye opener of the night for me. And Keith Lee's theme music, again, it's growing on me. Dominik Dijakovic, you really grew on me tonight for sure, my friend. So we'll have to see what happens. And yes, it says that the number one contenders match for the women's championship will be in 2 weeks. It is not next week. Let's see who we got here. Live chat. Oh man, I think Robbie heard me mess up his name. You say my name, Mike? So you're calling me Robbie Gargano, Robbie Champion. Hey man, you are a champion like him, man. So I gotta give it to you that. Marcus, I'd rather see the Sky Pirates than anybody else get the first women's tag title shot. I agree. I'm definitely hoping it is a tag title. The Sky Pirates who get a tag title shot, they definitely do deserve it. William Regal should make it a triple threat match with Bianca, Io, and Shayna. I agree. That'd be awesome. That Dominik and Keith Lee match was awesome. Too bad it ended in a countout. But you know what? It left us wanting more. And I'm sorry, I gotta take this call really, really quick, guys. I can mute my thing there. Hello, what's up? Only the second time it's ever happened for me, guys. Sorry about that. I had to take that call really fast. But anyways, yeah, but again, that Dominik and Keith match definitely left me wanting more, and that's exactly what it needed to do. So I love that match. I can't believe Cassius Ohno left NXT and went to NXT UK. Is it just a one-time deal for him with facing Walter, or is he really doing that long term now? I'm not sure. We'll have to see what he's doing. That was not a bad match to get with him and Walter on Wednesday, but again, like the crowd just doesn't know these UK wrestlers as well, so they're not as into it. But we'll see. I think it ended in a count, so both guys will look strong, and it could lead to a bigger match at TakeOver New York, which I'm hoping that happens. It was done to protect both these guys, and it worked perfectly. Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic falls count anywhere. Awesome, definitely. I'll take that. Falls count anywhere. Last man standing, sure. Sasha and Bayley versus Io and Kyrie at Mania for the women's tag titles. That would be awesome. I mean, I would love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I'm still predicting maybe them, Trish, and Lita, but if they do that, cool with me. I would love it. Definitely, Robbie. Once again, you're a genius, Robbie, and that's why we like you. Robbie Champion, people. I gotta say that. And remember when Keith Lee laid out Ohno and when Oh no. Yes, I did. Man, that was awesome. But thanks for stuff in the live chat, guys. And hang on. I don't know what I was I don't know where I came from. Anyways, though, so then speaking of women's tag team champions, we had a nice surprise from the new WWE. I'm sorry, new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Bayley and Sasha returning home to NXT, and the pop that they got, I'm just like, dang, I wish that, you know, you know, you don't hear them get like that big of pops in that long, like that much anymore, because of how, you know, they've just been booked terribly on the main roster. But them getting like that warm homecoming welcome, and this promo they cut, of course, was much better than the one they cut when they last week on Raw when they first won the tag champions. And again, I don't fully blame that on them, but I blame it on that Lafayette crowd, because they were just so dead during that promo. This was so different. This felt more energetic, felt more personal, and loved. Of course, you know, Izzy, Bayley's #1 fan, was there. She was in tears. They get welcome back chants, and Sasha asked if they missed them, and of course they said, "Damn, it feels good to be home." Their belts prove you can't forget where you came from, because their journey to become tag team champions started here in NXT. Bayley asked if we remember the last time they were in the ring together. At TakeOver, respect. In the main event for the first ever WWE Iron Woman match. But Sasha's changed, and they hug, and the hugster says their journey as tag champs has just started. They want their belts to be the most sought after talked about belts in all of WWE. The boss says they're taking them all over, including Raw, SmackDown, even NXT. Bayley says all the ladies in the back better step up, because maybe the next time they're here, they'll be defending these titles, which I hope so to get. Sky Pirates? Let's go. Of course, I would say Jessamine, Duke, and Marina Shafir, but again, they still need some work, which I feel is what's going to kind of hold Shayna Baszler getting called up after WrestleMania. Again, just my opinion, because I feel that she's more so going to be down there still. Again, Shayna's ready for the main roster, but since she's part of a certain stable, I still feel that she's going to be staying down at NXT for a little while longer to, you know, help, you know, those two, you know, build up. Because again, Ronda and Shayna, they grabbed onto it. Jessamine and Marina, not yet, unfortunately. Speaking of which, we had our main event. It was Shayna Baszler taking on Mia Yim. And let me stop here by saying this. Again, I said this, I believe, in my 205 Live review, I believe it was. I'm not this guy who, like, you know, like some people, you know, were saying, like, you know, I saw on Twitter and stuff like, you know, oh, like, you know, they weren't that impressed with Mia Yim until this performance and whatnot. And you know what? If you feel that way, that's completely fine. But again, my thing is again, not everyone has to come in with an undefeated streak. Not everyone has to have a rocket ship push. Like, I am fine with, like, you know, like match gets, like, you know, low card people to build them up and like get some wins under their belt. Okay. But of course, there comes a time also where you definitely, you know, have to start like putting this person in more serious competition and give them like that breakout performance. Even if they lose, look like they developed something still from this match. Such as, of course, Bianca Belair developing more of a character in her match at TakeOver Phoenix against Shayna Baszler, like she did. And I'll be honest and say, I felt that because Bianca had been at NXT for about a year and a half. And yes, I said before, she was winning matches, but I feel they could have definitely gone in that direction with her just a little bit sooner with that breakout performance. Like maybe just a couple months sooner than just getting that one-on-one performance at TakeOver Phoenix. Of course, Io Shirai, you know, kind of had that recently in that tag match, but this was Mia Yim's turn. This match, I saw, phone's ringing there. I'm not getting it right now. Okay, it was a no-name anyways, but that performance there with Mia Yim, I saw her trying to play Shayna Baszler's game. There was a point in this match where for of course in the beginning, uh, where of course Mia, I mean, Shayna took down Mia multiple times, but then she goes to like smash like Mia's knee. She would smash someone else's elbow. And there was a time also where she kind of like pushed back and looks like she like twisted her ankle or something like that. But then Mia actually went through a little bit of an injury herself, though, for real. Well, not for real, but on her own terms, when she went to kick Shayna Baszler on the ground, but Shayna got out of the way and Mia kicked steel step, which definitely put effect on her leg throughout the rest of the match. But there was a time there where it looked like that, those vicious like strikes or it was like that, like Shayna for real, just severely injured, them, such as when she smashed Dakota Kai's and Ember Moon's elbow and whatnot, or like how she smashed Mia's ankle and whatnot, or this match. Mia Yim was doing that to Shayna Baszler too, and she really, again, like Bianca Belair took Shayna Baszler to the limit recently. Also, Mia Yim did as well in this match. What else happened? Yim then stomped on Baszler's hand on this before she hit that she missed with that kick. She stomped on Baszler's hand on the steel steps. The Queen of Spades though got a workload after the steel steps shot, and Mar reminded us that the leg that Mia had already just heard in this match was a leg that Mia had apparently broken last year. She tried to get the Karahu to clutch it after a break, but then Mia Yim grabs the hand, and she was targeting the hand that she smashed on earlier, and was targeting that to prevent her from locking in the lock. Basically continued to counter into a leg lock on the bad leg of Yim, but she can't get the hold with her bad hand, and Mia gets to the ropes, hits a tornado DDT takedown. She continues to roll, but her leg gave out. But then Shayna came in for more, but then Mia was just playing possum, and she rolled for a near fall. There's her seal food finisher on her, but she could barely cover it because of her leg. They battle back and forth with forearms, and then Baszler hits a gut wrench buster for 2. Baszler kicks, but Mia blocks them and manages to lift her. Her leg holds long enough for a sit-out power bomb, but she only got 2. Then she attacks her knee continuously and tries it into her finisher. Mia tried to work with the hand again. She reaches for the hand, but then Baszler uses her legs to trap Mia's hand so she can't get to that hand, forcing Mia Yim, though, to tap out. Even though she tapped out, though, this was Mia's breakout performance for sure. She literally was playing Shayna Baszler's own game with her in this match. Definitely showing that she could definitely be a tough SOB for sure as well. And it worked very good. Another breakout performance on this really stacked episode of NXT. But again, as I said, I only gave the show an A- because I know it's set up for even better things to come for all these people who have big moments in this show for sure. Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic is definitely going to have a bigger match, down the line. I'm hoping it's at TakeOver New York. DIY Reunite is going to lead to something big in this Dusty Rhodes Tag Team class, which reminds me, I just had it up here a second ago, but I lost it. The bracket was revealed. Let's see what the bracket is going to be for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. So our first round matches, if this moves a little faster, we have Mustache Mountain taking on the Street Profits. Could be a good match there. Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch taking on the Forgotten Sons. European Union, which is one of my favorite upcoming teams, taking on the team of Aleister Black and Ricochet. Kind of would like to see them fight a little bit later on the tour, but okay. And DIY is taking on the Undisputed Era. Wow. I can't believe that they're having DIY take on the Undisputed Era. I thought maybe that they would save them for a later round or something like that. Wow, man! So one of these teams I thought were going to be going to the finals or get to the finals that I guess are going home early from this tournament. Wow, let's see how that works out for whichever team it is. So be a very interesting few weeks for sure with this tour. I hope the tournament in general is a little bit better than last year's. Last year's was probably the weakest so far, in my opinion. But even though one of the teams in it, it led to Roderick Strong turning heel, which was awesome. But the whole tournament in general last year was like it did completely set the world on fire. So hopefully this one's gonna be better. Mark also says, I'm surprised that Jessamine and Marina was at ringside for sure. He says, I give it an A, see tomorrow. That's fine with me. Again, I give it an A minus though, only because again, I know this is going to set for even better things. What's me saying that this was an A show, like a straight A show? If they could definitely do better down the line. With that, that's an A. No, I want to give that like a better recognition. But great show, I loved it. So many stars I felt developed, like fresh faces, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, Mia Yim, the reunited DIY, even this tag team stuff was interesting a little bit as well. So we'll see where this goes. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna probably maybe do some video game let's plays today, and just veg again because I'm just trying to recover from my trip and whatnot, just settle back into home and whatnot, which I can't quite settle back in, which I'll talk to you about more in my special live stream tomorrow. But I currently do not have a bed at the moment. I have an air bed, but I'll, of course, share that story in my special live stream tomorrow. But thank you to Mark and Robbie and Larry's evil brother, or whatever the heck it was, for joining me in this live chat. As always, guys, check out Robbie One Kenobi's channel, as always, as he pitches great fantasy booking ideas. And again, if you love what you have yet to hear, please hit hashtag please sign Robbie. Try on Twitter. Also, guys, I'll try to share some photos on Twitter tonight, but I will be going to a live NXT event right here in Pittsburgh at Stage AE. So I'll try to take some photos and share them on Twitter, and hopefully it'll be a good time tonight. So once again, guys, A- for NXT this week. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always to click buy, like, and subscribe more content to my channel. Follow me on Twitter at DeMainer. Guys, I will see you guys all later on. I mean, we'll definitely tomorrow. Or, if you catch me on my video lessons, definitely tomorrow for my special live stream of the week, something tomorrow night, which will most likely be top 10 returns. We'll probably do that once we had a lot of returns this week in WWE. So until then, guys, have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you all later. Peace out, everybody.